KSK book review, Beyond Lucky, the Brian Glaze Gibbs story. Crack, Money, Murder, and Redemption. Written by Brian Glaze Gibbs, of course, with Joseph A. Barola. What can I say? This is one of the realest books that I've read. And when I say real, I mean real in the sense of, this guy, he is a story. He told the truth. Historically, you can see it. The documents say that this is what it is. This is what happened. He put it out there. He told about what he went through as a young man, coming up, going back and forth to jail, the crack game, murder game, back out on the street, back in jail, and everything that went between. This guy wasn't just no ordinary guy. Brian Glaze Gibbs, of course, out of New York. Pretty much all over New York, but a lot in Brooklyn and Queens is where he did a lot of his stuff. Brooklyn and Queens. He dealt a lot with a lot of big names in the game. Grew up with the original 50 Cent. New Fat Cat. Grew up with King Tut. The A-Team. He wasn't a member of the A-Team. You know what I'm saying? But he dealt business with him. Let's see. It's a lot of stuff that he went over in the book. It's weird because when I do book reviews, I want to give the book review, but I don't want to tell somebody everything that's in the book because I don't want to give up the book and then nobody have a reason to read it. I want you to get the book. But it is a page turner. And like I tell people, there's a lot of books that I read that I don't do book reviews on because a lot of them are a waste of time and not page turners, but actually I'm going to start doing book reviews when they are bad. And they're bad books. I'm going to tell you when it's a bad book and if it's a waste of time. But a lot of times I don't even waste the time to do a review because it's bad. I don't think that it'd be a lot of filler. This isn't filler. He gave his life story. He told, and his main point is redemption. Is about telling kids, look, this is everything that I did. This is how I did it. You know what I'm saying? And this is what you shouldn't do. And if you do it, these are the consequences. He gave a lot of, stuff as far as like I like the different stories early on when he was talking about with his family. The street life, all of that, saying, like I said, with him growing up with 50 Cent, them going back and forth, and King Tut and all of that, with them growing up. And especially he gave some real good stories in Rikers Island, the different things that he was going through as far as, a lot of the war stories, a lot of the prison stories, a lot of things he went through with other, cellmates, a lot of other guys, while he was inside. He spent a few, it was a big part of the book was on that, the stuff that he went on in there. I would say a chapter or two that he went in there. But it was enough content that he was, and this is, they could actually turn his book into a movie. They actually can. It is a movie. It was graphic. It was violent. It was action packed. It definitely is something that, you definitely want to go back and say, all right, well, if you're going through it, you read the one chapter, all right, well, what happened next chapter? What's happening? What's going on with the next chapter? And you want to keep reading it. Definitely real. He told you all the gruesome stuff, the killings, the, the fighting, the different things that he went through, all of that. The stuff, all of the, the drug dealing, the things, him protecting, the block, him, the type of money that he was making, and it was something, I believe this book is really for, people who, you're interested, to hear from somebody from that era, from the 80s era, and what they went through, during the crack game, and that, especially, of course, with New York, New York, Chicago, California, New York, DC, New Jersey, I would say, Chicago, all of that. Anybody, any of those urban areas was primarily black. So a lot of guys have a lot of the same stories. his story, of course, is the New York version. Of course, that's where he's from. And he pretty much just put it down. You know what I'm saying? For anybody who wanna, really get into that, and wanna, read it. I enjoyed it. The book is something that I think anybody could read and take something from it. And it's entertaining. That's a part of it. It is a book. It is something that he is selling, so it got to be entertaining. But he's telling the truth. Him and Joseph Varola did a really good job writing. This book. Putting it together where it's not a drag, and it doesn't feel like homework for you to have to get through the book. You're getting through it, and then he kept it real. And the way that he comes off, he talks like as if he's somebody that you, like an old OG that you used to talk to back in the day. When you was a kid, in the 80s, and these guys looked like giants, and they was out there doing their thing, and, they would talk to you about whatever, good, bad, or ugly, but he sounds just like those guys in the way he talked, like with the Brian, Glaze, Gibbs, give you that. But and then he covered a lot. He covered the stuff about what happened with Tupac too, with Quad Studios, the rumors, with Tut and the 18 and all of that. Like I said, I won't get into that. I'll let y'all read it so y'all can hear it. He covered that. He also covered some of the, some rap stuff too. He covered in that. He also went into some of the New York guys who was hustling in New York, and some of the guys who decided to go to other states, decided to leave New York and go to different states because he said that they, according to Brian, he said that they weren't strong enough, to survive, or hold it down in New York. So they left New York and went to other states. And you by you reading it, you'll get an idea who he's talking about. Because you hear about other guys talking about, oh, I left and I was here, I was there, I was hustling here, I was hustling there. He's saying because a lot of those guys had to leave New York because they wasn't strong enough to be able to set up and do their own thing. And you'll get what he's talking about when you get into that. Anybody that's, I would say for younger guys, or somebody that don't really know anything about anything when it comes to that era, this would be a good book to kind of read up on and study. It kind of get you caught up a little bit, and then you have to read other stuff. And you can follow him on YouTube and Instagram and all of that. And other ones. Then he did get into, I gotta say, the snitching rumors, but he covered that. So I'll just let y'all pick up the book, read it. You can see what he had to say about the snitching rumors. That's for y'all to pick up, and you can hear it in his own words how he covered that. So I'll leave that there. And then he went over also which a big deal, a real big deal, the Edward Byrne, the rookie cop that got set up and killed, and that was a huge deal. And they actually said that was one of the things that set up that infamous Joe Biden crime bill. That was one of the incidents that helped push that along because how vicious that crime was, and then they publicized it so much because of the rookie cop being killed, and we need more protection, and this is how they just made it. They made it a big deal. So a lot of the country was very sympathetic. So it helped usher in that bill that allowed them to hunt a lot of black men down, as we all know. But he goes into that, and the people that was charged, and of course Pappy Mason was charged in it, and of course the other people that was involved in it. But he goes into that also. But definitely is a book that I recommend for anybody to pick up. It's definitely a book that you would. This book would encourage you to follow him on his other stuff and say, all right, well, what else is going on? You can't fit everything in a book. If you could, it'd be a 1,000-page book. So you can pick up this book, get that, and then follow him on YouTube and stuff. I think what he's doing now, especially with him trying to steer people the right way and showing them what they shouldn't be doing, is good. Especially by coming from a real killer, a real hustler, a real ex-drug dealer. So it's coming from somebody who really was out there, not somebody who's kind of out there. This is somebody that was all the way out there. He did the whole thing, you know. So to get his advice from an extreme level, from, you know, killing people, shooting, stabbing, strangling, drug dealing, back and forth to jail multiple times, multiple years, friends in it, drug dealing, the whole thing, and then to come out and still, you know, have a positive message after all of that, you know. So, and then like as we can see now, these guys are the guys that's going to tell those stories. You know, most of those guys are kind of like in their late 40s and like in their 50s now. You know, the guys who were really out there. And those guys who want to tell the story of what was going on in the 80s and during that whole crack epidemic, you know, in the black communities. But definitely pick it up. You can, you know, you could pick it up. You could you go on his YouTube page and you can get it. You could email them. Also, what was the email? I had to look, but anyway. But if you go on his, I thought I had wrote that down. But anyway, but if you go on his YouTube, the email is there, and you could pick up the book that way. That way, he can, you know, get the money for it, or he can directly get the money for it. I thought I had the email, but anyway, but I would say just go on his YouTube. And you pick it up, you can email him, send him the money, and he can get the, you know, the money for the book. Also, I think you pick it up at most bookstores, but the better way is to email him and get it that way. You'll appreciate, you get the signed copy and all that from Brian. He'll make it out to whoever you want to make it out to, but very good book. I support what he's doing. I like what he's doing. I want him to keep going. So, all right. Brian Glaze Gibbs, Beyond Lucky, pick it up. Action packed. Drama is all of it. So, and it's true. That is the best thing. It's not somebody that just was thinking up stuff. It's a true story. So there you go. All right. Here's Book Reviews out.